Hello and welcome to yet another episode of The Rubber Match. I'm your host, Seth Weber. With me always my heterolite mate, Brian Freeland.
Gainfully employed this week.
Oh, shit. There we go.
Yeah. Well, I start tomorrow, but still. I'm going to be a server.
Okay.
It's like a corporate restaurant. Like, I can't say I'm super excited about it.
Yeah.
But I will be making as much, if not more money I was making teaching in Connecticut. So.
Okay. I mean,
so
that'll work. That'll work for now.
Yeah. So
it gets at least a little bit of that stress off of you.
Oh, for sure. Actually, the most exciting thing that happened this week is I went in. I stopped at one restaurant, and I did the old-fashioned way. I was like, I hear you're looking for help. They said, actually, we're looking for line cooks. And I was like, well, I've done like some prep cook work. And this
I've seen the bear.
Yeah, I have seen the bear. So that's a plus. I've done some prep cook work. I might have like inflated a little bit my skill sets. Working at prices, but she said, great. We'll bring you in for a stage. How does Friday morning work? I said, Friday morning is great. So on my way back to the car, I looked up what a stage was.
So you didn't watch the bear then?
I didn't remember that scene about. Did they explain what the stage was?
I mean, I think they talk about it when Sid comes in, like when she comes in and asks for a job. I think they discuss that a little bit, but it's also like a thing where like everybody in the scene knows what it is, and they kind of expect, I think, the rest of the audience to figure it out.
Okay, yeah. So I just just didn't pay. I think it was probably the first episode. I didn't pay attention to it. So. So then I Googled skill set of a line cook. And, most of it was like ability to multitask, to follow directions. I practiced saying yes, chef, and no, chef. And, so I went in there on like Friday and probably worked with the nicest cooks and chefs in Massachusetts. I was not expecting everyone to be just like as nice and patient and welcoming as they were. I spent 2 hours on the line on Friday morning during a brunch.
Was that as intense as it sounds?
So yes, and like honestly, it was exhilarating. Like if I could make the same amount of money. So here's the kicker. I think I would have been like really happy there.
Yeah.
But the money's not as good, and I need to make a economical decision like right now, and so I actually went in today and I told them, like, listen, I've decided to be a server, like knowing full well that like I'm not going to be like as happy there, but. I will have to say, like, there is something that's really kind of exciting about, like, tickets coming out. I will. It was like a 6 foot by 2.5 foot rectangle.
Yep.
Right, and 4 people are there hip to hip, like on the line. So, there's one guy. There's a kind of a lovable scumbag who like had like burn marks from like. Taking chicken with hot honey out of the oven. So he was like the oven guy. And so I was like between him and then like the person who's like flipping pancakes and doing like the bacon and potatoes. And then on the other side of that guy, it's like a person who's like just doing eggs.
Yeah.
So but it's a farm to table restaurant. I was actually like worried. I was like, listen, if I F this up, then like, we eat there 2 or 3 times a month, just as a family. I was like, if I F this up, I can't go back. But it's like, if I don't F it up, like, I can't go back because, like, you know, it's I don't want to go someplace on my day off and then have, like, table and work with a Coke Bay.
Yeah.
Anyway, but, so, you know, it's kind of got the, you know, best. I went in and I told her just my decision. But, yeah, I don't know. Nice shot. There's something for me that, like, I like the claustrophobia of it. Like, I like being surrounded by, like, stuff and things. And,
yeah. I've been in your apartments, I know.
Right. So, and the fact that, like, I could get paid to, like, have a knife in my hand and, like, there's a fire behind me and, like, stuff all around and people were cool, like.
Do you feel like that intensity would like, I feel like it would be interesting to do short term, but I feel like being that heightened for, like, an extended period of time, like, every day in and out would be really draining.
Oh, for sure. I mean, so another big reason that I didn't take it is, like, Saturdays and Sundays are expected, and it's 6 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Oof.
So, like, that's like 2 10-hour blocks. That's like my entire weekend with Cameron, my daughter, and you know, and my wife. And so I was like, that's nice save, buddy. Nice save. You know, that's another reason. Now, you know, weekends are expected, but I think what we're going to do is I'm going to have, like, a day off during the week, and then Cameron probably won't go to preschool that day, and that'll just be like a structured, like, daddy-daughter day.
Yeah.
So it's not only will it save us, you know, money, but, you know, it'll be kind of sacrosanct time for us. So. Yeah. But yeah, man, it was. I was actually surprised about how much I loved it. Yeah, honestly, yeah.
That's cool.
Like you know, I get the appeal of it. Like I see. I was like, oh, like, this could be, like, really addicting, and, you know, in another life, or if I didn't have a wife and child, sure, like, bump a couple lines of coke in the bathroom, and let's cut up some chicken, yeah. So, but yeah, so that was, you know, I was kind of inspired to, like, oh man, I got to watch, like, some more, like, I don't know. I like cooking movies in general. Like, I like the kitchen as, like, a context. I don't know. Have you watched many? Like, have you seen Chefs?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I've heard about it and, like, what they sort of went through to get there, and I saw, like, that. Didn't, like, Bradley Cooper do one too?
Yeah, Burnt, which I actually own, and I've probably seen 40 times.
Yeah, I've seen, like, a clip of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say it was like a sleeper or a hit. It's just, like, I think it's pretty good.
Solid movie, yeah.
It's just also a movie I like. Like, I can, like, put it on and I like watching it or listening to it. So yeah. But yeah, it's usually when my mom's in town. You know, because cooking is big in my family. So Mom and I, if we're spending time in the kitchen, then normally we'll sit around. We'll, like, watch Chef's Table or a Great British Baking Show or something.
Yeah.
Or, you know, a movie. So yeah. But that's been about it. And then as far as media, watched the second episode of Last of Us. Really enjoyed it. They made some changes. They talked about the changes they made. Like, they had Neil Druckmann and the guy who's, like, directing the series, like, talk about, like, just art direction, talk about the changes they made and why. And I really appreciate just how thoughtful they're being about this.
Yeah, I think so, that's mainly what people have wanted out of game adaptations is, like, you can change stuff. Like, for one, like, the stories that, like, the games have, don't be afraid of them. Like, you know, treat them like you would, like, a comic movie, right? Like, you could use it as a source of inspiration, and you can make a change that makes sense for the medium. but like the stories are strong. Like here's the story. There's a lot of people that haven't seen the stories.
Right. Yeah.
But just take it as you would like a book. Like when you're adapting a book, like make sure you're being. It's like the changes you make are in the right spirit.
Yeah.
And make sense within the world and within the narrative. Like, don't just make changes for change's sake.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and super glitchy night.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do 2 and 3. I'm gonna try to do 2 and 3 next week. We finished Paul T. Goldman. Which is a great ending to that show. It's a wild show. Like it kind of goes all over the place.
Last week you weren't sure if it was like scripted or not. Like now that you've ended it, like what's your feeling? Do you think
it's definitely
genuine?
I'd say it's definitely not scripted, but like the whole last episode kind of goes into that, and it's real interesting. And it's kind of like you kind of see it coming, but like when it's laid out on the table for you, you're kind of like, yeah. And then like the director does a really good job because they shoot the premiere of where like they screen the whole series, which would have been like a decent amount of time. But they screen it, and like the director tells him before, he was like, there's going to be stuff in here that you're not going to be happy that I put in. And he's like, okay. And then you watch him kind of watch the series, and at the end of it, he kind of confronts the director and is like, I kind of really wish you hadn't put some of this stuff in. And he was like, yeah, but like this is what's important. And then like you see Paul like get to the realization of why the story is actually important and why it's good. And he's like, and he just kind of comes to terms with it when it's not his story. Like it's not the story that he wants to like have everybody see, but like it's the story that is the most interesting to tell.
Right. That's interesting.
It's really good, but every time I've tried to get somebody into it, like it's always like, it's what now? And I'm like, it's a super hard pitch, and I don't envy the creators trying to pitch this show and like get people to understand what it is they want to do and the story they want to tell.
Right.
But it is really good. It is really good. I also watched stand-up special from Andrew Santino. I don't know if you know who he is.
I don't.
He's best known, I would think, as Dave's manager on the show Dave. Did you watch that on FX? It stars Little Dicky, the rapper.
No. What was it about?
Oh fuck! It's sort of like a loose version of his life, like Little Dicky's life. And it's really good. It's really fucking good. Like, not only is Little Dicky like crazy talented rapper, but he's like written and like runs that show, and it's a great show. Like, it's a really good show. So if you haven't seen Dave, I would highly recommend it. But Santino plays his manager, and he's a very like ginger dude. He's from Chicago. But he also has his own podcast called Whiskey Ginger. And
I've heard of that.
Goalie doing?
Oh my goodness! I have no idea. There's no excuse for that. The goalie decided to pull himself.
That's his solo podcast. And then he also does one with Bobby Lee called Bad Friends, which I love. With him, like their back and forth is just unparalleled. It's so good.
Damn it! We were kind of neck and neck for a while, and now you're pulling ahead,
pulling away. I'd say like this is his first comedy special. It's called Cheeseburger. There are parts of it that are better than others. Overall, I'd say it's good, but I think there's probably I think if it had been a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little bit longer working on it, there were just parts of it that just didn't work for me. But the main aspect of it, like the cheeseburger bit of it, is kind of well done.
Okay.
And it's sort of his take on the environment that comedians are kind of working in today.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And he illustrates it in a really good bit at the very end of the special. But yeah, I feel like I've been listening to a lot of comedy podcasts these days, and so like I feel like I'm more up on the comedy scene than I have been in a long time. And so it's just interesting to sort of see people like get their specials, and now like people are moving out of just like Netflix or HBO, and it's like they're just taking specials where they're shooting it themselves and putting it straight on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like Ari Shaffir or the Flagrant dude, and damn, I can't think of his name now. But they're making like good money doing it that way. But it's just a really interesting time, I think, in comedy. Yeah, so I watched that, and then I also watched. I watched 2 more episodes of Andor, and picked that back up, and it continues to be up there with some of the best Star Wars up there is.
That's what I keep hearing. I need to like, I guess where I left off was like I left off like right before things just like ramp up. So
well,
I left off
nuts.
with like him being like
I've got
recruited
two,
into that
two episodes
group.
2 episodes left, and it's been a heist movie, a jailbreak, plus like crazy bureaucratic intrigue. It's like so much depth to a Star Wars world that like we haven't gotten anywhere else, and it's just kind of awesome.
Cool.
So I want to finish that up this week.
Yeah, I need to be in I've just kind of been in a weird place where like I'll flip through things at night and then I'll try to read something, and then I'm like, I'm just gonna go to bed. I think I finished replaying The Last of Us Part 2. Damn it! You are fucking out of there.
You think? You don't know? You don't know?
Yeah, no, I finished replaying The Last of Us Part 2. And it's so like get in there. Or replays are difficult for me because I wanted to like revisit the world and the story because The Last of Us is a thing now that people are talking about.
Yep.
Did you pull back goalie?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But I never get as much enjoyment out of a replay. And now I take that back. With a game like Naughty Dog, where it's not open world, I think if it was like Elden Ring, where if I pick an entirely different character, say like instead of like a melee character, I picked like a caster or like some kind of like hybrid and had a completely different experience.
Yeah, because that play is going to be completely different.
It is, depending on like the stats and skill set that I've decided to focus on. So, that's I can see that, but I spent like 210 hours and like months in that world, and I'm not like ready to go back to it yet. So I think I have a whole list of games that are like on my list. Yeah, exactly. A whole list of games that are on my list. Good one, Freeland. But I can't. I can't bring myself to like focus on something or concentrate or say like, hey, I'm gonna play this small indie game for a few nights and then I'm gonna focus on this bigger game or what have you. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
man,
that's why I get like 9 or 10 hours of sleep a night. Because when I got it's 8 o'clock, I'm like, I'm just gonna go to bed.
Today the kids Anna took the kids somewhere, and I was like, I think I got enough time that I could play a round of Fortnite. And so I get in, and like things are going well. Usually it depends on like how quickly you find weapons, and like your early interactions, I feel like dictate how the match is going to go. And I started getting some stuff, and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good about this, and I got some kills, and I'm like, all right, things are going well. And I looked up, and I was like, oh shit, there's only 8 people left. This is crazy. Okay, all right. And then I looked and like, oh shit, there's only 4 left. And then like before I knew it, I'm like in a small circle, and I'm like, oh shit, there's only 2 left. I was like, okay, all right, this is it. I'm gonna get my fucking win. And I saw the guy like healing. And like up high, and I didn't know how I could get to him, and he sees me and starts shooting at me, and I'm able to like hide from him and heal up, and he drops down. But I had recently picked up this weapon that's like it was added recently, and I think it's like I feel like it's an anime character attack. That's what it seems like.
Okay.
So you like jump up in the air and then you like punch down really hard. And like, it takes a while to like actually do it.
Get off.
So, like they could shoot you while you're doing it. But I've seen people win with it, so I was like, "Fuck it!" I picked it up and I was like, "I'm gonna use this if I get to the end." And he came down and I switched to that thing and slammed his ass. And I was screaming in the house. Like I was like, "This is my first actual solos win," and I was like, "Oh man, yes, finally! That felt so good." I have not had a feeling like that in a long time.
So how long did the entire game take for you to get the win? Aren't games pretty short?
They can be. It all kind of depends on like how stuff goes. Like if people are hanging out in like really populated areas, it could go pretty fast. I'd probably say all in all it's like 10 to 15 minutes total.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it was the perfect amount of time actually, because everybody walked in the door like right after I returned to the lobby. So I was like, oh, that was perfect. That was perfect.
So you know how I've always had an issue with libraries, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
You owe lots of money, and then you find a way to get out of owing that money to them.
Right. When there's like a amnesty day, if you bring in like so many cans of soup, and I just like pick up the cans of soup that somebody else brought in the lobby, and then take it to the front desk and be like, "Here's my soup."
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, they were saying that a book was missing, and I was going to owe for it, and it's one that I like remember returning. It was a children's book. And so I went there like ready to like lay into them, and they found it, and I said, all right, well, how much do I owe in this fine now? And they said, actually, we don't have fines anymore. We like just did away with them. I was like, oh, really? So I asked her, I was like, why don't you like get rid of fines? And she was like, well, it's really stressful for people, and I was like, yeah, and it's ableist. And she's like, I don't know about that, but it is stressful for people, and it doesn't really bring in a lot of income into the library, so we just did away with them. And I was like, okay. I was like, great. And she said, like, that's mainly for books. In our things library, we do have, we still do have fines. So like, what is your things library? And I guess you can rent like pickleballs, or like pickleball paddles, or the vacuum cleaner, or whatever, for like a couple of days, or
oh wow,
yeah, they're just like things that like people need. Am I going up or down? Looks like I'm going down.
Yeah.
Down. All right. So I was like, okay, well that's cool. That makes sense. So I asked her if she had ever heard of a human library. Have you heard of a human library?
I have not.
Okay, so it's this thing they started in Denmark, and the idea of like, people say like, oh, I'm an open book, but you have people who register as books. Now this could be somebody with like somebody who identifies as Muslim, or somebody who identifies as transgender, or somebody with like extensive body modifications. People can come in and kind of like rent that book, and it's meant to like foster a conversation of like somebody who like doesn't know anything but like might be curious and have questions.
Wants to ask that person questions.
Right, about
Gotcha.
like their experience and like why and like their lived experience and what do they feel inside or why would they go to this extent. And so I think it's a really interesting kind of like way to like foster community, but you also have to be like the kind of person, like you can't be like a closed off, ignorant bigot. Because like then you're not going to go. Like you have to come in with like at least an open mind, big enough to like ask questions, right?
Yeah.
And respect that like who you're sitting in front of is a human being. So anyway, so I brought this idea up to her, and she ran it by the director of the library director, and it's something I'm going to help them establish for their library.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. It'll be like a I know I have a dissertation to finish and all, but sure, why not like another side project? That like I'm volunteering for. Yeah. You know. I don't want to tell them that I think like a master's in library science is a silly degree. I don't know a whole lot about it, but like what are you getting a master's in? Like the alphabet, putting books on the shelf? Like I don't know.
Oh man. We've got like 8 listeners, and I'm sure one of them has a master's in library sciences, so now.
Well, you know what? Like they can be an open book because I want to know what the big deal is. Like
they can like tell you on their masters.
Like, yeah, exactly. What exactly do you do with
well, maybe
your
one of them.
masters
Maybe
besides,
you can get one of them as a book, and then you can check them out.
Yeah, like what did you do in your grad?
Justify yourself.
Exactly. Because I learned my letters and numbers in elementary school. I don't know about you all.
Freeland coming hard for the librarians today.
I think I'm still harboring some.
Yeah, clearly.
Like as a person who's like sadly been for the parks department, But like, come on, you get some money, you order some new books.
Where are they getting that money from?
Right, you don't need a master's from it. I don't know. You have a magician come in a couple days a week to entertain some babies and their mothers.
There you go. Pitch that as your next idea when you're in there.
Yeah. Just you have any like unemployed clowns? We got a family program. Oh, I've seen what John Wick can do with a book. Can you? All right. So, how do I again? All right, I feel better. I have a friend of mine actually who got me it's a grievance journal. It's basically like gives you prompts of like what are some of the most annoying neighbors that you've had in your life? And what was it that made you dislike them? What is like one habit that people have that annoys you? So I think I'm probably getting a lot of traction with that one.
Yeah, really getting the juices flowing.
Yeah, I think honestly too much time is spent trying to foster gratitude. Like I didn't even say thank you for the journal.
Well, I mean, at least you're consistent.
Right. Like, couldn't the journal have been bigger?
That goes beyond gratitude.
Damn. Oh.
So I put up the poll for next season's game.
Okay.
We've had 2 people vote, and one of them is me.
All right.
And the other one is my wife. And
okay.
my wife's vote was out of spite because she saw me playing the game that I voted for, and she didn't think that would be fair.
What was the game you voted for?
I voted for Super Puzzle Fighter.
Okay.
And then I promptly bought it because I figured out how to get it. And it was only like it's through like a Capcom arcade game. Like Capcom released a free-to-play like shell that you can buy individual games for, and like you can play them as if they were on an arcade cabinet. It's kind of cool.
Okay.
But it makes it really hard to play because the screen is like at an angle, so like you trying to like, especially Super Puzzle Fighter, you trying to like make lines. It makes it hard to gauge where the thing is falling. It's not the best thing in the world, but you can change the view and make it like actually full screen. But the game itself is only $1.99. So I was like, oh man, I'm gonna buy that. What a stop that was. And so I bought it so I could just play it again because when I thought about it, I was like, oh, I really want to play that again. It's been a long time since I played it. But in the short list on the poll, which if you go to the YouTube channel, which is where you're watching this now, there's a community section, and under there's a poll that you can add. Other people could, whoever else may be listening to this, can add their 2 cents. We've got 4 more episodes after this of NHL, and then we're going to be moving on.
Okay. Has anybody? I haven't even read it. Has anybody left comments on any of our videos?
Yes, there's been a few people.
Oh.
One person thanked us for playing NHL.
Oh.
It could just be someone that's like heavy into the NHL, like '94 community. I don't know, but
maybe it's a librarian. That's as far as she got in her alphabet.
Oh yeah, I mean, like they're gone now. The librarian is so real.
just like take the low road.
Yeah. There've been a few, not many. We don't have a whole bunch of interactions. Damn, that dude cleared your keeper out.
I know.
Oh, wow. But so what I had on the short list was For Honor, because I looked at like non-sports games. So I did For Honor, Multiverses, Tetris 99, Mario Party, and Super Puzzle Fighter.
Okay.
Are the games that are on the list.
So I would say like the only thing about like Mario Party is, and correct me if I'm wrong, couldn't it be like the computer could potentially win? Like how will we get a rubber match?
They could if we well, that one Mario Party takes so fucking long that like it would be just straight up one game.
Okay.
So
right.
That one probably actually wouldn't actually rubber match.
Right.
But if the computer set up easy, I don't think there's any way that they would actually beat us. But if we were going for each other...
Oh, I was trying to get the shot off before, damn it.
There would be a possibility that I guess they could if we were going at each other really hard.
Right.
I don't know. I think there are things that we could do around that where we could either like pick kind of partner players, like computer players. Mm-hmm. So if through our play we got the computer player to win, we would count that as a win. I don't know.
Right.
We could do. We could come up with some ways around it.
All right. So yeah, I'll check out the comment section then. I'll put in a vote, and then I'll ask my wife to put in a vote. Then I'll ask my daughter to put in a vote, and then I'll take it to the library. I'm like, never mind.
Like, never mind. You guys don't know how computers work,
right? Can I have directions to the Parks and Recreation Department, please? Thank you.
Oh, man. Now our first piece of merch that we need to make for the show is very librarian hate focused.
Yeah.
just a big no symbol with like librarians in there. Wait, what slang? What term were you about to put on librarians? Book jockey? Is that what you're about to say? Okay. I thought you were about to say. All right. With that, we will end of the rubber match. We will see you all next time. Bye, y'all.
Bye.